Hey everyone. So, we already know how many people feel stuck in the limitations of conventional medicine, and that's exactly why I created Holistic Health with Melissa to take you on a journey from conventional to crunchy. Here, you'll get empowering wellness insights, practical tips, and faith centered strategies to help you feel your absolute best. In each episode, we'll dig into what true health and wellness really means. We'll dive into nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, and detox, all things so important to your health. And we'll chat about raising kids with intention and living life of faith. So join me to reclaim your energy, embrace your healthiest life, and find joy and purpose along the way. Welcome, everybody, back to Holistic Health with Melissa. I'm so excited to have you here today. We have a super special guest. Her name is Dr. Gina Nick. She is a world-renowned naturopathic physician, researcher, and formulator based in Newport Beach, California. With a dedication to holistic wellness, she's known for her expertise in treating a wide range of health concerns from autoimmune diseases to addiction recovery, anxiety, and more. After graduation from medical school, she became the director of research for a leading supplement company, earning the company billions. She's since held the roles of executive healthcare consultant to local and government agencies, president emeritus of the California Naturopathic Doctors Association. As the founder and director of HealthBridge in Newport Beach, California, her practice was awarded Top Medical Practice of 2017, a testament to her commitment to excellence. Dr. Gina, I'm so thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much for being on.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here, Melissa.
Yeah, I am so fascinated by what I know about you and really excited to dive into talking about your supplements and your journey and everything that you have to offer. So I'm just gonna kind of open up the floor and let you just tell us who you are and how you got into all of this, what led you here.
Oof. Well, we already gave the little bio, so we'll bypass that part. Well, right now, my biggest passion is in creating or making glutathione a household name. That's what I'm really here to do right now. And so I've been in the nutritional supplement world for over 2 decades as a physician using supplements in my practice, but then also as a researcher and formulator for all that time. And I came across glutathione. So I'd used it in my practice for a long time, but then I was actually hired by a company who makes a form of glutathione that's absorbed orally, which was kind of unheard of at the time. And because I was hired to do this, I did a real deep dive into glutathione, way beyond what I learned in medical school, way beyond what I knew from using it in practice, even. And it was through that journey that I was like, wow, why doesn't everybody know about this mother of all antioxidants? Why isn't it, readily available and accessible to everyone? Because truly, as I looked at it more and more, and again, I've been in the supplement world forever, and I've come across so many different ingredients and formulated a ton of products and all that, but this one was just different. It really stood out to me, and I wondered why everybody didn't know what it was. Was it because glutathione is just kind of a technical word? It's not like an easily remembered word. I coined the phrase vitamin G instead because that's easy to remember, and I really see it as like the next vitamin C. How vitamin C became so popular. We all know that it's good for your immune system and everything. Vitamin G is equally, if not more important for so many different functions in your body, and we need it more and more these days. So I formulated a product called Best Daily Ever. I created a form of glutathione that actually tastes good, tastes like a pixie stick. And normally glutathione doesn't taste good. So let's see. So with all that, let's see, my first real magical experience with the use of glutathione was one of my first patients I ever had was a drug addict, heroin addict. And he was recovering, and I had done all the things I knew to do as a naturopathic doctor in terms of all the functional medicine testing and all of it. And he said the thing that he noticed the most benefit from was glutathione. And so it kind of planted a seed. And then fast forward, and one of my dear nephews was diagnosed with autism. And I kept telling my sister, we need to get glutathione into him. I know it. We need to. We need to figure out a way. And the challenge was that the form of glutathione that actually worked, which was liposomal, didn't taste good. It was hard to get, and adults to take it, let alone kids, and it was a problem. And then, he was young, and I'm his aunt. I'm not going to inject him, and he wasn't going to like me, and he wasn't going to comply with that. Right. But that was the other way at that time that, would really work for him. And so my sister reminds me today that that also planted another seed for me of coming out with a form of glutathione that kids could take that would make it accessible to everyone, a form that was actually bioavailable and worked, that wasn't liposomal, that didn't have to be refrigerated. And so I like to say, I was inspired to take the ick and the ouch factors out of getting glutathione into your body or into a child's body. And so then COVID hit. I'd been doing some lecturing on glutathione and realizing most doctors were not using it in their practice. They were using it sporadically, at least from the doctors I was speaking with. And then I would go to local health food stores, and nobody really knew what it was. It just wasn't out there. And so I said, that's it. This is my next supplement I'm going to create. It's going to be glutathione. COVID hit, and I was homeschooling my daughter, and I was looking over at her. I'm like, how do I get glutathione into her? Because we know it can help to prevent a severe reaction to things like COVID. And I decided I wanted to make glutathione taste like candy, but have the opposite effect of candy, right? So actually help the brain and lower neuroinflammation and help with balancing addictive behaviors and all of that. So I created a formula, and I always say it was divinely inspired, because it literally just I have a passion for formulation. It's what I love to do. I love to put ingredients together, whether I'm injecting them or putting them in a supplement. It's what I love to do. I always have. But this one was different, so I create this formula, I send it off to the lab, I get it back. First try, Melissa, it tasted amazing. And glutathione has like a sulfur, a component to it. So it smells horrible. Even when I'm injecting it, if I am injecting patients, the whole office smells like glutathione, and it's gross. It doesn't smell good, doesn't taste good. This came back, and with no sugar, I only used a little bit of stevia, and then I used glycine to sweeten it. And glycine is one of the amino acids that makes up glutathione, but it has a slight sweet flavor to it. And I had remembered I'd use it when I formulate supplements for patients. I would use it as a sweetener. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's because glutathione's a tripeptide. It's made up of 3 amino acids. Glycine is one of them. I'm like, that's perfect. Anyway, I get back the sample, and it tasted like a pixie stick. No joke. It was like perfect from the get-go. And so I knew there was something there. I knew this is something I needed to bring to market. And so through a lot of work, a lot of time and energy and money and all of it, we've been able to bring it to market. And so I'm really excited about it. We launched with a fruit punch flavor, but I have a rose lemonade flavor as well. That is my favorite, actually. And so that'll come next. But that's kind of what happened. And so I've been spending a lot of time just talking about glutathione, educating people on it, both doctors and consumers. I just gave a talk at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine on using glutathione to protect and heal your cells from radiation. And that includes, radiation, cancer treatment, and exposure to radiation like electromagnetic frequencies, X-rays. And, of all of the talks I've given over the years, this one, it was like so important to me to get all the data. I spent so many hours putting this presentation. It was only a half-hour presentation, but something about it, I was like, no, this is unbelievably important. I ended up with almost 100 slides, had to
Oh,
pare it
wow.
down. And then I still, it was 72 slides. And I just told the attendees, hold on to it as a reference for later, because I couldn't go through everything. But it feels to me like it's time for everybody to know about glutathione and figure out how to use it to help heal yourself and protect your cells from everything that we're being exposed to these days.
Yeah.
One of the areas where glutathione really shines that isn't talked about a lot is cognitive function. So it helps to lower neuroinflammation. And with that, it helps to improve cognitive health. And there's a direct connection between things like Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease and glutathione deficiency in the brain.
Yeah, I've heard that about Alzheimer's before. That's really fascinating. That talk that you just gave, was that the one in Vegas?
Yes, at the American
Oh,
Academy of Anti-Aging
I
Medicine.
almost went to that. That would have been so
Oh,
cool.
you should go next year.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite conferences to go to. It's called Longevity Fest. There were over 7,000 doctors there, and you really get exposed to next level information on what's coming down the pike in terms of real health care and treatments that haven't yet been popularized.
Yeah, sure. That
You'll
just
love
made
it.
me
Go next
remember.
year. Yeah.
That just made me remember. I think we have a mutual friend. I think that's what we
Oh,
talked about initially, maybe, or maybe I was talking to your assistant, but Dr. Laura DeCesaris
hmm.
is you know her,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know
Shout out
that.
to Dr. Laura.
Oh, I love that. She's awesome. Oh,
She's
okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. So I have so many questions. So why don't you start by telling us, like, what is glutathione and why is it so important in the body?
Sure. So glutathione is considered the mother of all antioxidants, the master antioxidant. There are three main antioxidants that you must have in your body for proper functioning: glutathione, vitamin C, and vitamin E. And those are the three like foundational blocks, and they all work together. They all cycle around each other. They help one another. They work together. But glutathione is the master. And so it's manufactured in every cell in your body, higher concentrations in the liver, which is the main detoxification organ. Glutathione helps to protect your cells from free radical damage. Free radicals are toxins in the environment that are produced in your own body that cause damage to the mitochondria, the powerhouse of cells. And glutathione is there to help protect the mitochondria from harm from toxins. Glutathione helps to lower inflammation throughout the body. It works as an immunomodulator, which it really, like, I love that word. I love what it represents because it really speaks to the just, the amazingness of the human body, really, and its divinity. Because as an immunomodulator, it'll boost immune function as needed, and then it'll calm down an overreactive immune system. So it helps to balance everything out. Um, Glutathione is really important I mentioned, for brain health, because the brain is more vulnerable to exposure to toxins than any other area in the body. And so the levels of glutathione get depleted pretty readily in the brain. And that's where then it leaves you vulnerable to damage from exposure to toxins. And that's where I'm very passionate about making sure that your glutathione levels are sound in an effort to protect your brain from harm, whether it's from radiation or, toxins or inflammation, you name it, right? And so glutathione is also very powerful at detoxifying things like heavy metals from the body.
Is
So
that the most common way to, like, deplete your glutathione, is be exposed to toxins,
yes.
would you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
it gets used up,
Right.
so and it's reduced. So there in the body, there's something called reduced glutathione, and then there's oxidized glutathione. So reduced glutathione is the active form of glutathione, and it then takes toxins and converts them into a form that can then get excreted out of your body. whether it's through the colon or the skin or the kidneys, your other detox or lymphatic system. And so, but the thing is you're supposed to have a lot more reduced glutathione, active glutathione, than oxidized, because once the glutathione is used, it becomes oxidized, and then it has to get recycled back in your body to a reduced form. Well, guess what? That takes a lot of different cofactors and minerals and stuff, nutrients, to make that process happen, right? And the ideal ratio is 100 to 1. You want 100 times as much active reduced glutathione in your body than you do oxidized, and that always doesn't happen, right? And so,
Yeah.
as I always tell people, like, it's not just taking a bunch of glutathione. That's not the answer. You also want to be making sure that your levels of the cofactors that glutathione eats up to make more glutathione or turn it back into an active form are there as well.
Yeah,
And
which is
your
probably
body,
hard in this day and age, because we're not getting, like, we're exposed to so many toxins. We're not getting the nutrients that we need. We're not getting the sunlight that we need. We're not getting
yes.
the exercise that we need, like, across the board, right?
Yeah, yeah. Magnesium,
Oh yeah.
selenium, zinc, glycine. I mean, all these things are essential and
Yeah.
necessary. The B vitamins, you need all of that. And those things are naturally occurring. Glutathione's naturally occurring in quality foods. It's there, grass-fed beef, more so than other beef, fresh fruits and vegetables, members of the brassica family of vegetables, so things like broccoli and cauliflower, are higher in glutathione. And also eating those foods, it triggers, it's a transcription factor called NRF2. But basically, that's what triggers your body to manufacture glutathione. So by eating those, quote, anti-cancer vegetables that we've all heard about, right?
Yeah.
So this is fascinating to me. What's actually happening is there's chemicals in those foods that trigger a transcription factor, NRF2, that then tells your body to make more glutathione.
Oh, that is cool. I
Isn't
didn't.
that interesting? And that's
Yeah.
really, so that's one of the main, quote, anti-cancer results of consuming those anti-cancer foods.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm curious to know, you talked about your nephew, and like
yeah.
you were thinking about, like, how do I get glutathione into him? And then with your daughter, how do I get
Yeah.
glutathione into her? I'd love to know, like, does your nephew take your formulation, and has it helped him? How is he now?
He loves it. He calls it Gina juice. But so he takes every day. He takes the Pixie Six, which to me, I was like, just that alone, I'm happy. Do you know what I'm
Yeah, made it
saying?
worth it.
Like I
Yeah.
served because
Oh,
I mean, it is coming. To me, it's like it just came full circle. And it wasn't even, again, my sister had to remind me, do you remember when you used to try and figure out a way to get this stuff into him? And I would like open up capsules of N-acetylcysteine and mix it in applesauce. I was just trying everything, right? And so to know that he now takes those every day, as do my other nephews, but he in particular, it's special to me. And then also, so my daughter, she loves the pixie sticks, but she takes them to school. And I had envisioned like these little sticks in every kid's lunchbox, like just where at least if they've got that, they're covered. And so when she's telling me that her friends are begging her for more pixie sticks, I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is really cool. There is a way here to get these kids just supported, supported so that they can think well
yeah.
and they can have a little bit more of a robust immune system. And so to me, it just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It
Yeah. Because
also helps with hormone balance.
there's so many things going against those kids, right? I mean, today's generation, the young generation, I mean, all of us, but really, right? The kids, like, they have it coming from every angle.
And they've got developing brains. And what's
Mm,
to me, like, one of the most important things here is we want clear thinking
yeah.
kids and adults. But this next generation of leaders that we're creating, they need to be thinking clearly and have truly. And so what can we do? My area, right, is nutrition and supplements and all functional medicine. What can I
Yeah.
do to help that, to help ensure that we have clear thinking kids.
When you talk about like the journey, like from that first, like one of the first patients that you had that was a drug addict to like right now, it sounds like it was like last year that happened.
Oh, no.
That like it was obviously like a big long journey.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I became fascinated by detoxification and the whole concept of detoxification, even during medical school and then afterwards, and then glutathione, and then patients. So that happened. Gosh, it's been 20 years, right? And so it's been a long journey to get to here, right? And it's the connection, like glutathione and just the fact that it's so central to the human detoxification system, which is an area that I have been fascinated. I didn't really learn a lot about it in medical school. It mostly was just stuff I did on my own. I went to this detox institute because this woman at a health food store told me about it, and something told me you need to go check it out. And that was the beginning of the journey. It's like, oh my gosh, there's this whole human detoxification system that is so unbelievably powerful in our bodies that impacts everything, immune function, cognitive health, you name it. And the human detoxification system plays a huge role in what's happening with us. And now you look at everything we're exposed to, and it's now even more important that we really pay attention to this system, which we hear about the cardiovascular system and the immune system, but how many times do you hear about the human detoxification system? It's such a powerful system in the body that we need to be talking about, so that we can take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I love that so much. I think you're so right that we just don't talk about it enough. I feel like I hear people talk about it a lot right now, like in the last couple of days. They're like, oh, I need a detox. The new year, I want to detox. And it's like, no. Like this is like an ongoing, like forever thing. You always need to detox, not just at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, right. I mean, glutathione's great for that too, for detoxing from alcohol. A lot of my patients be like, Dr. Gina, why I get so much of your best daily ever, it's because, well, I know that if I'm drinking too much, and they know I'm always telling people to stop drinking, and so they don't like that about me, but they know that, right? But they'll be like, look, I'm gonna drink, and I take best daily ever, and then I feel I don't have a hangover in the morning. I'm like, well, it is helping you to detox,
Yeah.
But with regard to detoxification, so I mean, we're detoxing 24/7. Our bodies there are so many amazing innate mechanisms in place, designed. They're so intricate, but they're designed to take toxins from our environment and remove them so they don't cause harm. And so, yes, like you're saying, it's a day-to-day thing. We want to be supporting our detox system in one way or another, day to day, not just, once a year or after partying, right?
Right.
And that's
Right.
and it is, we all know that it's our daily habits that have the biggest impact on our lives. So I'm always saying, just do one thing consciously daily that is supporting your human detoxification system, that system in your body, and you will be serving your body well, because it's just, but like actually making that conscious decision. Okay, I'm going to make sure I sweat every day because your skin is your largest detox organ, right? Or I'm a big fan of glutathione. I'm taking glutathione every day. I'm getting out in the sun. I'm spending time in nature every day. And that's regulating my cortisol levels. And that's supporting detoxification because it's limiting the amount of toxins that are burdening my system. There's so many ways. Sauna therapy, removing plastic, stop drinking plastic, water from a plastic bottle, right? That's one you can do where you just make that decision and you pivot away from it. But whatever it is, everybody's different, right? And so whatever works for you.
Something.
So yeah, just making that conscious decision. I'm going to support my body's innate detox mechanisms as a way to work with my body that's working for me 24/7.
I love that. I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned a couple times, you said one thing you said that the whole, like a couple times you said that the process was kind of divine, like you felt like you were called, like this is your calling, right? Like, and I just want to point out, because I spend a lot of time talking to clients and other people I interview and stuff, talking about kind of like leaning into like your intuition and trusting the process. Because like sometimes, like for you right now, you're launching this glutathione, right? Like this supplement finally came to fruition, but this is like a 20-year process that you've
Yep.
been on, this
Yep.
this journey. And like, so I just want to like, I'd love to hear kind of your take on that piece of it, of it being like this whole process that took over 20 years, or 20 took you 20 years. Like, how did you know along the way that you were like going the right way, that this was what you were supposed to do and this was, your calling? How did you know?
So you know what's weird about that is it wasn't like I didn't question it. Like, how do I question a lot of things. You know, I've got an analytic mind, so I'm questioning things all the time, right? And when you asked that question, I was kind of processing it. I'm like, it just naturally happened. The whole thing with like formulating supplements and it just kind of happened. And I think back, my parents had this. It was what their names? I don't want to say their names wrong. It was the life extension book, and I can't think of their names right now. But anyway, it was this big, thick book, and it was all about nutritional supplements. And this is back, we're talking in the 80s, right?
Mm.
And nobody talked about supplements. And I remember I would sit there and read through it, and I was so fascinated by it. So that's why it's like just kind of naturally
Yeah.
something about it, right? And then when I was in high school, I started taking college courses at like the local community college because my mom was like, okay, she's bored, and she was a teacher, so she saw that, thank God. And so she was having me take, and I took a nutrition course, and that just like opened up my whole world. Oh my gosh, nutrition is so powerful, right? Um, and then, like I said, there was a speaker that came when I was in medical school, just starting out, and he was from the supplement world. I'm like, okay, this is definitely what I want to do. I just knew it. And so it wasn't like I always knew I wanted to be a doctor, right? Like I don't know where, like, was it because my parents talked about? I don't know, but I just did. The supplement thing, though, it just organically happened over time, and I didn't say, okay, I want to create 10 supplements by the time I'm 30. Like it wasn't that type. I didn't have like a goal about that, but it just always sort of it developed over time. I was hired as a director of research for Standard Process Nutrition. I built out their research department, formulated a bunch of products for them, you know, and loved it, loved it. And so yeah, I think it didn't matter that it's taken so long
Yeah.
because so that like there and I'm not the most patient person on the planet, not all. And so when you say it that way, when you're like, wow, it's been 20 years, I'm like, yeah, that's but I've
And
I've
every
never
step was important in that journey,
every
though.
yes,
Yeah.
I had to have the knowledge,
Yep.
I had to have personally experienced the benefits truly and had it really walk the talk and feel the difference and know it to be true, regardless of what I was taught. I had to know it and experience it. And then little by little, like when I was to get through medical school, I was hired to educate doctors in the clinic on nutritional supplements from a supplement company that I was hired by, right? And so I've been just little by little, yeah, it just happened over time. And it's kind of because I think about like, where did glutathione come from? That again, it fell in my lap. I was hired by a company who made a form of glutathione that was bioavailable in oral form. And they wanted me to research it in my practice because I was really big on detoxification. And because I was hired, I spent the time, and what doctors don't really have that much time to spend doing the type of research I did, but I was hired to do it. And so, I was like, okay, God was like, okay, we want you to really focus on this, right?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of it continued from there. I had to really understand the behind the scenes of what it takes to create a nutritional supplement, a quality one. what is involved. And so by being director of research of one of the world's largest nutritional supplement companies, it gave me so much experience. I'm so grateful for that time. Um, and so, yeah. And then it's kind of funny. One of the people that I work with, he was like, I don't know how he came up with vitamin G. And it was like, Dr. Gina, vitamin G. I was like, oh, that's weird. But it's kind of stuck, right? Because I was saying we need a better word than glutathione. Nobody can remember that. It's like from a marketing perspective, it's just not an attractive word. And then vitamin G came to be. And it's just kind of funny that it's
Yeah.
G, you know?
Yeah, that's so
It's
cool.
weird.
I just feel like I asked that just because I'm like, I feel like so many times I talk to people who are like comparing their journey. Like I talk to people who are go on a health journey, right? Like
Yeah.
and they're comparing their chapter 1 to my chapter 20. They're saying like, "Oh, well like how do I get there?" And then they just get like focused on like, "Okay, well that's like so far off." And I'm like, "No, you just like baby steps, right? Like just like with anything with your whole journey, it's like maybe you didn't know the end game. You didn't know that glutathione supplements like 20 years ago, you might not have known that, but like you just kept taking the next step and just following your intuition and taking the opportunities when they came up and just trying to be better every single day, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had many roadblocks along the way, especially with,
No
my
way.
gosh, with creating this product. Holy moly. If I told you the number of sleepless nights I've had, it's been a journey. And but every time I wanted to quit because it's overwhelmed. I'm a single mother. I'm doing all, it's like I've got a lot on my plate all the time. And every time I'd want to be like, forget, I'm done. I'm sick of this. I can't handle it anymore. Something would happen. It'd either be a testimonial would come in where I'm like, oh no, I can't stop. Or a comment would something inevitably happen. I'm like, okay, I need to keep going. And it's still to this day, it's like, oh my gosh, another moving part that I have to deal with. Like it's not easy to be the CEO of a supplement company. It's a big job. And always, and that's where I'm like, that's where I just have trust, because
Yeah.
it just seems like I'm like, look, if this is what's meant to be and I'm meant to do this in this way, I'm going to allow this to happen. And I have visions, like I have bigger dreams. Like I have a foundation called the Brain Health and Mental Wellness Foundation. I want to create a retreat for mothers and their children to help them to improve through like biohacking treatments and glutathione and all of that, but truly that's, supported by the foundation. So mothers and their children who are struggling in any way, that they have a place to go to heal and become more of who they really are, so they can be wonderful leaders for their children and their children can learn from them.
Oh, I love
And there's
that.
a whole thing to that. There's, regenerative agriculture farm and animal sanctuary that's all integrated into this whole thing. So that's kind of brewing out there. I can't like, how it happens and when and where. That's not, that's all in divine right timing. And it's hard to have patience because I mean I'm like half there already. Sometimes I feel like I'm like half of me is already there. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the other half to be there and just fully do this. But I kind of the 5 hour energy drink. So
Yeah.
you know how Minaj, who started that company, how he had like, it became really successful as this one product, but then he was committed to investing the majority of the proceeds into like things that help to heal the planet, different technologies and things that help. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be not the same as, I'm not him and all, but it's like a similar model where I envision these glutathione products as, a way to fund the foundation and the things I'm really here to do. So,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. What incredible, incredible story. What an incredible person you are. So cool. I'm so cool. I'm just blown away by everything.
But again, it's like I have had I've been challenged in every way, like truly in every way possible. And so when I finally got the product and I'm like holding it in my hand, like, oh wow, this is a miracle. It's a miracle that this is here in the way that I wanted it. Because I was very particular about, I mean, the ingredients and how it's manufactured. Like the manufacturing company, it like gets annoyed with me all the time because I'm so picky, right? But it's so I got to create something that I personally take, my child take, my nephew takes, that I love. And that's after again formulating products for 20 plus.
What an accomplishment. That is so cool.
Yeah. So.
Well, if anybody wants to try
Hey everyone,
it or wants
thank
to
you
look
so much for
up,
tuning
how
in
would
to
they do
Holistic
that?
Health with Melissa.
So
it is such an
product,
honor to have you here. If you found value in today's episode, would you share it with a friend who might need it too and leave us a review? If you have questions or topic suggestions, reach out on social media or visit our website, holistichealthbymelissa.com. And take care. I'll catch you on the next episode.
drgina.com, drgina.com.
Perfect. Awesome. And that will all be in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure to chat with you. I could go on forever. We could talk all day, but alas, it will end. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you everyone for listening. Tune in for the next episode.
Thank you.